Okay, so somebody asked me to take them through what I wore to Tough Mudder because they were thinking of doing it. So I did the Tough Mudder 2014. It's a 12-mile, which is 19-kilometer obstacle course. I didn't quite make that connection. And it was absolutely brilliant. It was really, really good. I really loved it. It was my second that I'd done because I'd already done the Hell and Back. But in terms of the Tough Mudder, I'd had a bit of experience with the Hell and Back, so I knew a little bit better what to wear. So I thought this was a really good idea because you do need that advice. So during the Hell and Back, one of the things that I really had a problem with was that my hands were absolutely freezing. By the end of it, my hands were actually excruciatingly painful. So the first thing I bought in advance of the Tough Mudder was all-weather gloves. Now I couldn't find like actual waterproof gloves, and I talked to a girl after Tough Mudder who had scuba socks on. So if you could get scuba gloves, those are the job. But what I did was I got GA all-weather gloves, like tight fit, and they were just really good. They weren't waterproof, but they dried out very quickly. So when you're running in between obstacles, even though they were soaked, they would dry quite quickly, and it just meant that my fingers were actually usable by the end of the course, even though it was 19 kilometers. So it was actually, you know, almost double the length of Hell and Back. It was the one I did anyway. It was much, my hands were actually usable. They weren't excruciating, which is really tough at the end, because at Hell and Back, like, there was a good few obstacles at the very end, and I was like trying to climb them with these hands that just would not work. So 100% you have to bring gloves. GA all-weather gloves were my first purchase. Then what I did was I went into, is it Lidl? I think it's Lidl, it could be Aldi, I think it's Lidl. And they had running gear on sale, so I got their performance trousers, or performance like leggings for women, and then one of their performance kind of tank tops. I wore a long sleeved Under Armour thing underneath it. It wasn't the brand Under Armour now. I got it really cheap on eBay, so it was some knockoff. But one of those long sleeved ones designed to keep you warm underneath this performance tank top and performance leggings. The reason I just wore the tank top was because I literally just had it and was going through it anyway, so I wore it. But my friend Claire wore the matching performance top of the leggings. So what I did was I tucked the long sleeve underlayer, I took the sleeves into the gloves and tied it really tight. And then I tucked the bottom of the underlayer shirt into the leggings, and then pulled the tank top down over the top of the leggings, so I was completely, and I actually was completely watertight. It was weird, like I had this like very dry bit when I took off all my clothes later. But that just really helped me to keep the heat circulating inside myself and not escaping anywhere. I wore because I have this shaved part here on my and all your heat leaves out your head anyway. I knew my head was going to be quite cold, so I wore one of those Penny's Finest, just like bandana, woolly bandana things. And I also did that to cover this piercing here, because I was wearing a GoPro on my head, so I didn't want that piercing to be irritated or like pulled out. So I wore one of these thick woolly bandana things from Penny's. I just wore Penny's runners because the runners you wear get absolutely destroyed. So I didn't want to wear, I made the mistake in Hell and Back of buying, not Hell and Back, sorry, I did. I wore Asics runners to Hell and Back, and they were ruined. So it was a complete waste of money. That money went down the drain. So yeah, I just bought like the really cheap €13 Penny's runners, and just wore really thick socks, again pulled up really high. I wore knee socks, like I wore sports knee socks, well they were up to about here, so pulled them up really high and then pulled the leggings down over them and then tucked the leggings into my shoes. Now what I did as well was I put a plastic bag around my socks. So I put a plastic bag around my socks, and then it went up to around here, and then I tied it really tight, and then I also put a bobbin around it, and then I pulled the leggings down over that and tucked them into my shoes. Now that actually didn't prove to be so successful. I had thought it would be better, but it wasn't, because eventually that bag just like filled with water and was like weighing me down, so I had to rip them off. and then and then my socks were soaked anyway because there's water inside the bag, so it wasn't an effective solution. But as I said, I was talking to a girl afterwards who's wearing scuba socks, and I was like, girl, I need them. If I was doing it again, and to be fair, I said this the first time I did it and then didn't do it for the second one, but I think doing it in a rash vest would be the job, because like you couldn't run the whole thing in a wetsuit, but if you could, I so would. And one big thing you need to do when you're running one of these things is wear bikini bottoms. Well, I'm a sports bra, but bikini bottoms are like my number one recommendation, even if you don't wear gloves, is wear bikini bottoms. Because in the first hell and back, I remember just having like a really soggy arse as I ran around the course with like these really soggy knickers just like squishing around. And then the second time I was much freer because I was wearing a bikini and it was just built for ice baths and shit like that. Oh, I got a life-proof case for hell and back, and it meant I could actually bring my phone on the course with me. So I got a really good picture. And I also got like a life-proof arm thing to put the phone into. Like, it's each to their own, but if you want to be taking pics, then that's a life-proof case is definitely what you need, because your phone will not survive the course without one. Because you do get submerged in water, like submerged in dirt, like it can be pretty gross. Oh, also just wear things you don't like, or buy things specifically for it that are cheap enough, like I did with Lidl, and then so that you can throw them away when you're done, because you will not manage to rescue those clothes. The Tough Mudder, you have more of a chance of rescuing the clothes. I'm actually trying to rescue the leggings at the minute. I'm washing them. But the Hell and Back, they had like a muddy area just before the finish line, so the whole point is that you're supposed to finish the race absolutely covered from head to toe. And then their showers in both instances are pretty poor, so you're not saving them clothes. They're gone. See you later. They're gone. Yeah, that's pretty much it.